Hey there, I just wanted to provide you with a little instruction so that we could continue to talk about the last two steps of the backward design process. Once you finish watching the video, you should be able to complete a learning plan, but we'll also talk about it some more during our Zoom call. So this is the same 8th grade science KUD we've been looking at. And at this point, we'll use it to write learning targets and use them to start our learning plan. Here you'll see the learning targets, and like I told you before, this learning plan was completed by an 8th grade teacher that I work with. So after writing the learning targets, she first determined the formative and summative assessments that would show if her students have mastered the targets. You can see that she had students fill in some of the periodic table using an online tool. They shared an explanation of their understanding with her, and they did a Quizlet. And for the second learning target on this one, they did another Quizlet. They shared their understanding. I think she used a cold call method, and she used that just to gauge where the students were with their understanding. And then they had a summative assessment on SchoolNet. Next, she determined the activity and assignments her students will need to do to support them in being successful on these assessments. She used an I Notice, I Wonder strategy with the periodic table. There was some teacher instruction and an online periodic table web quest. Students created a foldable of a given element, shared their understanding using a jigsaw strategy, and she used more teacher instruction to support this second target. So this is what her learning plan ended up looking like. And I used her plan and converted it to a blended learning or remote learning plan. So let's talk about using this plan to support remote and blended learning. I know that teachers were thrown into this last semester and that we were all trying to just keep our head above water and trying to survive. But at this point, it's my hope that now we have time, or now that we have the time and we sort of know what's ahead of us, we can plan assessments, activity and assignments for a blended classroom that can be used on remote days. Or since we already know that you're going to start the semester with some remote days, you can plan assessments and activities for remote learning that can later be used in a blended setting. So these are some questions that you can ask yourself as you go through this process of converting your learning plans to remote lessons. So back to the 8th grade learning plan. In red, you'll see what I recently added to make this a blended lesson. This teacher had used an online tool in which students filled in part of the periodic table. So I determined that that could be done asynchronously using the same tool. Students shared an explanation of their understanding, and I thought that they could do this asynchronously, also maybe using Flipgrid, and the Quizlet, of course, could be done asynchronously. On the second target, they did another Quizlet. Again, that could be asynchronous, and students could share their understanding of the process in a Zoom breakout room, and the formative assessment or the cold call method she used could also be done in a Zoom call. So that would be done synchronously. If the summative assessment is completed on SchoolNet, it could be done asynchronously. And I'll give you a few minutes to look at the other activities or the activities, and remember what is in red is what I added. The teacher instruction, I think, could be done using the Prezi videos and add those to Edpuzzle so that they have to stop and ask questions, and you can check for understanding that way. I do recommend a Zoom call, maybe once a week, just for classroom discussions and to answer any questions that your students have. So now you should be ready to create your own learning plans. I've included a link to a couple of plans that were shared by DPI, so take a look at those as well. We will continue to talk about this in our Zoom call. If you want to share your learning plan with me, I can provide you with some feedback. I'll do that as soon as I can. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in our Zoom call. Thanks.